Being fat is the physical equivalent of being in debt. Okay, let me explain. There's kind of three levels I see it as. Number one is 20% body fat or more would be classified as in debt. Okay? The next step up would be 15% body fat, which is kind of the break even point or where you're broke. Right? You got $0 in the bank. Then the next step up would be 10% body fat. You're really starting to make some money here. You're rich, financially free, whatever you want to call it. Okay? And each day of a calorie deficit is like paying off debts or making deposits into your bank account. So let's say you're 20% body fat, you want to get to 10. Each day you're in a deficit, it's like making small deposits and you're slowly inching your way up there. And the opposite is true, okay? Going in a surplus is like making withdrawals. So if you're up here, you're eating in a surplus, putting on fat, you're going backwards. But the thing with this is it is so much easier to make withdrawals than to make deposits, right? If someone gives you their credit card or whatever, you can go to the store and tap here, everywhere, make a bunch of purchases, blow a bunch of money. But making deposits is a different story. It's more difficult to make money and save money, say dollar cost average into an index fund, something like that. It's much more difficult than to just spend the money just like that. So if you go out binging and eating a bunch of junk food, processed bullshit, it is so much easier to put on fat and set yourself back. But you have to stay consistent with making deposits in this sense of being in a deficit and stick with that over time. I made an Instagram reel kind of explaining what I was just talking about here. It went decently viral. It was like 800K views, whatever, a bunch of engagement. And I had some words on the screen. It was like being broke and saying, but millionaires fly private is like being fat and eating McDonald's. Okay? And the underlying point there is if you're broke and you book a private jet or buy one, whatever, you're probably going in debt. You cannot afford that. You're taking a big hit to your bank account. Whereas if a millionaire can afford it, they buy a private jet like it's nothing. Just like that, it's not as big of a hit or dent to them as it would be for someone who's broke, right? The same thing with being fat and eating McDonald's. You are not in the position to be getting even fatter. You're already in a shitty position. But if, let's say, like an athlete, LeBron James wants to eat McDonald's, he's not going to get as set back as someone who is fat, per se, right? He can take that hit. He's already got a good physique and like health and stuff, so he can afford that. And I remember when I did my first cut back in 2020, I went on vacation with what was at the time my girlfriend, week-long vacation to Mexico. We stayed at an all-inclusive resort, and pretty much each meal was like a buffet. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, even snacks in between. Okay, they had anything you wanted. Italian food, American food, Asian food. Anything you wanted, they had it, especially desserts. I was eating ice cream like no tomorrow. In between meals, they had like taco trucks and taco stands around the resort and stuff. So like, I was eating that shit too. Anyways, over the course of like a week, I'd gained like 10 pounds alone just from that vacation. And it didn't stop there. Like when I got back, I was still eating like shit. Ate a bunch of processed bullshit. I remember eating spoonfuls of peanut butter at night, like 500 calorie spoonfuls, which is insane. And I was packing on pounds like no tomorrow. I ballooned up to like 20% body fat. I was like 185 or something. And I kind of took a step back, reflected, analyzed where I was at. And I set a goal for myself, like, I want to have my first cut. I want to do my first cut and become leaner. Okay, so I wanted to cut down to 170. I don't know what body fat percentage I would have been, but that was my body weight goal. So 15 pounds I wanted to lose. And it was going good. Like I stayed consistent with stuff. I was making those deposits, paying off my debt, if you will. And I remember like halfway through my cut, what was my girlfriend at the time, she was like trying to derail me from my progress and get me to make withdrawals, if you will. She wanted me to go to like restaurants and do this different fast food bullshit, whatever. And I didn't want to. Like, I was kind of iffy about it. And I remember specifically there was a restaurant she wanted to go to, and it was like a smaller chain restaurant. They didn't have all the calories and stuff on the menu, so I was like freaking out and all worked up about. I didn't know exactly how many calories were in what meal, so I thought it was gonna set me back. Whatever. It's not the end of the world, but the underlying point here is I wasn't ready to make those withdrawals because I wasn't in that position of being physically free or financially free in this sense with this analogy. So kind of the lesson here is to be honest about where you're at and have the physical literacy about your condition, right? If you're in LeBron's position, you can afford to eat McDonald's. It won't set you back as much as someone who's fat, per se. And kind of the idea where I got this physical literacy from is I read a book by this guy here, Robert Kiyosaki. Not this book, well, I read this one, but another one of his books called Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's one of the top selling finance books of all time. And in it, he talks about something called financial literacy or financial intelligence. It's knowing how money works, how you can manipulate it in a sense, and like how you can do what in what position, stuff like that. So I thought, how could I apply that to like my body composition and to my physique and health, stuff like that in my life. And because it's like a financial, physical analogy there, that's where I got that from. And so if you found this video valuable and you want my help getting to 10% body fat, click the link in the description, book in a free call with me, and we'll see if I can help you. All right, let's get it.